It looks like he... Oh no! Oh no! What an artillery shot! What is up guys, Cody here, and welcome back to some more Napoleon Total War. So today we are on Savoy Hilltop. This is going to be a 3v3. So Bullet sent me in this replay. He's going to be in command of the Prussians. Now the rules for this battle were 2 artillery max and max 5 lights. So with that being said, let's go over his army comp. So taking a look at the map, there is a massive hill, and this means you're going to need a lot of speed to try and get up that hill as quickly as possible. So Bullet's thinking in his mind right now, I need to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. What units can I bring to try and minimize that time? So he's going to be bringing a very mobile army, and starting off he has some 6-pound horse artillery. These guys are able to run extremely fast just like regular cavalry and get over to the top of the hill. Taking a look at his line infantry though, he's got some Jaegers, musketeers, cuirassiers, foot guards, and a ton of lancers. So 6 cav units in total. He's going to be extremely mobile in what he does and his movements. We will see how this affects him in the game. So taking a look at his allies now, we have the French player over here at the base of the hill. It looks like he's going to be defending the side. And he also has 2 6-inch howitzers, so he's not really going for that speed, but more so of a bulk of an army. So here they go, 6-inch howitzers being shifted over right now. And here comes the British artillery. They're going to try and engage them as well. Knocking one guy off their feet. Good volley, but did no damage, so only looked cool. But taking a look at the British armies now, we have an army at the base of the hill, and it looks like they're going to be holding here, or at least trying to flank. And also, they have some floating rocks on their side. So I'm sure the French are a little bit nervous about this. You don't see floating rocks every day, so we'll see what the British have up their sleeves. Taking a look at the British army in the rear, he's going to be shifting over his troops to the top of the hill. And he's going to be bringing some 5-inch howitzers as well as some 6-pound horse artillery. He's also got some dragoons for mobility. And then finally we have the last British army. And also, he's going to be pushing up his troops, and he also has some 5-inch howitzers unlimbered. We will see how effective he is. Right over here, though, we see Bullet's going to be pushing up his army here. Now, Bullet's not making the smartest of moves. He's very dense in terms of cavalry, so this is going to allow the British player to get some really good shots off if he does decide to turn his cannons. And by the looks of it, he is doing exactly that. Now we will see how devastating these volleys are, but it looks like some friendly fire is going to occur. Oh, knocking that horse, but let's check out this volley here. Exploding in the air, getting some really good shots off. Actually knocking this guy, actually killing a couple, and getting a direct hit. Great volley there. So even though some of those rounds did explode in mid-air, they are still capable of killing cavalry. Now, cavalry is going to be definitely aware of this, so Bullet's going to be retreating his troops back, but here comes some King's German Legion Dragoons. They're going to be charging into the mix. So as we all know, British cavalry is not the best, so he's definitely underskilled in this scenario and definitely outnumbered. So it shows how committed the British player is to try and claim as much land as possible, but here comes a melee engagement. Now the British player might also be thinking, if I can keep these guys here, they're going to be in range of the artillery, so this is going to allow me to get some really good shots off. So that's another idea in mind, and it looks like Bullet does not want to commit his troops for that exact reason. Artillery is still in range, so he can lose a lot of men here. So with the cuirassiers, they're going to be doing a lot of damage, but with the British getting that charge in from the rear, it's going to cost these lancers a lot of troops. You see, bringing them down to red morale, that is not good at all. This other lancer unit is down to 25 men, while the King's German Legion is still at 33. So that charge to the rear did definitely help. Now we have some Chasseurs being pushed in. We will see if they get their shots off or not. Looks like they already did, so they're going to be charging into the mix as well, trying to bolster some of the ranks. But here comes some rifle troops by the British player. He's going to try and get some shots off to help protect his cavalry units. Not to mention, we also have some dragoon units being shifted over. Let's get this map going. That's pretty helpful. So the dragoons are being pushed in now. And they're going to try and charge into these cuirassiers. Now the cuirassiers are just going to be stationary here and allow these dragoons to get a really good charge in. Really good, they're going like 2 miles an hour. But anyways, great charge here by the Cheval, charging straight into these rifles and instantly bringing them down to 48 men, so losing 12 guys. Lightfoot though, they're going to try and help the cause and try to get some decent shots off. You see a couple of them firing here. And they're going to try and kill as many troops as possible. But the Cheval are going to be caught up in a melee engagement, getting a really good volley off point blank there. Meanwhile, artillery is still engaging. British cavalry, on the other hand, doing a pretty good job despite the circumstances. Really holding tight and strong. And he's actually breaking some Lancer units. So there goes one Lancer unit and there goes another. Cheval doing a lot of damage to that King's German Legion Light Dragoon unit. He's actually going to be shifting over to these Lightfoot, so without being able to get another volley in, they're going to get charged into. But luckily this time there are some militia here to help protect these Lightfoot, but they're still a little bit late to the party. And it's going to allow the Cheval to get some really good melee attacks going. Over here though, the British momentum is starting to die down. Lack of men and skill is not going to be on their side, so they're going to start breaking one at a time. Not sure Cheval unit breaking that Dragoon unit, but taking a look elsewhere at the map, you see the British player is going to be flanking around the base of the hill, and he's going to try and overwhelm the French, but the French are out of here. They're heading towards, to the top of the hill. Some good artillery shots that are being fired still by the British artillery, still in range and causing a lot of damage to these Voltigeurs. You see the Grenadiers, Cheval taking some losses as well. These guys are some sick looking cav units. As well as the Polish Legion, so two really epic looking cav units, but we will see how they fend off against this British army which is coming their way. Taking a look back at the top of the hill though, Cheval still in melee combat, but this time with defensibles. Looks like the Lightfoot did manage to retreat out of there and save some of their troops. They're going to allow the militia to fight for them. Now, with Bullet being very mobile, it's going to allow him to push to the top of the hill. And you see the 6-pound horse artillery getting a phenomenal view and overlooking pretty much the entire battlefield. So this is going to allow him to suppress the enemy and pretty much be there for his troops at any part of the battle. And you see he's going to be pushing up his foot guards, but these guys are definitely exhausted from walking or running this entire way. And the British troops are making their way slowly but surely up the hill. They're also trying to run, but they're losing a lot of stamina doing so. French player is still pushing up. Looks like he's a little bit behind Bullet, but that makes sense due to the spawn locations. Looks like the 6-pound horse artillery is going to be moving up the hill, as well as the 5-inch howitzers. But taking a look on this side, British troops being pushed in, and we have two very isolated 6-inch howitzers. And here comes some light dragoons. So they're going to be chugging along at full pace right now. And hopefully the French player notices this, because if not, it's going to cost him a huge amount. Now, he does have cavalry on standby, but is he paying attention is the true question. So we will see British cavalry being pushed in now, going full speed. And they are not stopping. They see a target. They are very much committed. So hopefully these Voltigeurs can turn around and stop this attack. But it is not looking promising right now. 6-inch howitzers starting to, trail behind. And here comes the light dragoons charging in at a very, very fast rate. So here they come. Hopefully he can respond in time. But it looks like it's too late. And the light dragoons are probably going to be able to make it. But here comes the Voltigeurs turning around, trying to help the artillery. Artillery in some desperate trouble right now. They do get some shots off here, killing quite a bit of British cavalry. And here comes the Grenadiers, so charging in, getting a really good charge in. We also have a Polish Legion unit trying to charge into some rifles which have full ammo. That is never a smart idea. And just like that, that unit just got absolutely slaughtered. Will he make it? No, he will not. Just shy of that unit, but an absolute waste of a unit. Looks like the Grenadiers at Cheval getting in some trouble as well. Getting shot at by some line infantry. But just like that, that artillery piece is gone. He did manage to salvage the other one. But with one already dead, it is not looking good. Looks like we have a skirmish engagement here with some Voltigeurs and getting some Lightfoot. Lightfoot just slaughtering that Voltigeur unit, but it looks like some more Chasseurs are being pushed over now. And they're going to try and counter these Lightfoot. Bullet and his artillery are now going to be engaging. And we'll see what targets he's shooting at, excuse me. And it looks like he's targeting this rifle unit. Seems to be behind a hill, so definitely safe from any artillery attacks. But Bullet really doing well in terms of claiming this high ground. And it looks like the British are going to be forced to attack an uphill battle, just not fast enough to get where he needs to be. And it looks like this Lightfoot just got slaughtered here by the Voltigeurs and Chasseurs. And they're going to be losing a lot of men, actually breaking with 55 guys left. That is very surprising to see. The morale is very weak for them. As for here though, the British player is still committing troops, and like I said, he's going to be facing an uphill battle as well. So Bullet and his allies definitely have the terrain advantage. We also have a rifle engagement here, but they're getting a little bit too close to these musketeers. The musketeers getting some good shots in, depleting them pretty heavily, but it looks like they are crouched behind the hill, so they're not going to be suffering too many losses anymore. Prussian Fusiliers now forming up on the upper side of the hill. Rifles getting close as well. British player really needs to get in there though, but these foot guards are not going to allow that to happen. And look at these Lancers, they're going to get a very, very nice cav charge in, going full speed as fast as you can possibly run down a hill, straight into these rifles, and just ramming straight into those light units. And just like that, rifles breaking, and very bad morale for the Lightfoot. Another cavalry charge being pushed in now, or actually shifting over a little bit. But great job by Bullet, holding the line very, very well. And the British player is definitely in some trouble right now. Definitely not in the position to defend or attack, for he is still pushing up his troops. As for over here though, these Lightfoot not paying attention right now, getting flanked by some Chasseurs. But other than that, not looking good for the British. And the British are just walking into combat. That is never a good sign whatsoever. But since he is exhausted, running or walking is pretty much the same speed, as sad as it may sound. Rifles slowly losing numbers now. These musketeers are finding where to shoot at in the grass, and the rifles are actually going to retreat. Looks like the Lightfoot are finally noticing that there are some troops firing at him, so he's going to reform his lines and actually start engaging on the Chasseurs here. Chasseurs not in light formation, they're going to be suffering a lot of losses here. See, just like that, another guy dying. But at the base of the hill, looks like these rifles are going to be reforming their lines. But like I said, facing an uphill battle, which is never good, and especially with some 6-inch howitzer pieces on top of a hill, they're going to have a very, very hard time. So the British player is going to start farming up his troops now. We have another Lancer unit trying to charge in. This time not as successful, just because there's a huge amount of British troops ready. And it looks like the British troops are starting to become on even ground. So, going to even the playing field a little bit, and he definitely has numbers over Bullet. So Bullet's going to have to be cautious and kite back his troops at the appropriate times. Right now, Jaeger's getting a little bit too close for comfort right now against some Foot. Foot are going to be forming up very shortly. And we have some Highland Foot charging in. Very interesting move here. Got the rifles engaging the Jaegers. They're very tired of them shooting his troops, so he's going to be opening up on those guys. And right now, British players starting to flank around, so things are looking a little bit more even. But the Chasseurs losing a lot of guys still, not in light formation. It's going to cost them a lot, but their fire rate will increase. It looks like the French player is well prepared now. He's actually going to be laying stakes, preventing any cavalry charges from occurring anymore. And this is also going to save the artillery, which is now engaging on this hill. And let's check out these volleys. Getting a direct hit there. Sending that guy flying and just ripping holes into the British lines. Here comes another one. Looks like he's going to overshoot just a little bit. No, right on. Except it was in the air, so not as effective as it would be on the ground. Jaeger's getting extremely close to the Foot. Foot getting some really good shots in now. They're going to be mowing down those guys. It looks like Bullet's going to be reforming his lines, countering this massive British push right now. These guys are exhausted, but so are Bullet's troops. Now, some units did have time to rest up, and it looks like these foot guards are fresh, so we will see how they do. But right now, a massive push by the British player. Ton of units. We have the Fusiliers now backing up the Chasseurs. They might be shooting their own guys in the back, which is never good. So that is another reason why you should put your guys in light formation. Got some Cuirassiers now charging into the lights. Unable to form square, these Lightfoot are about to get a brutal beating. Knocking over pretty much everyone in that unit, down to 29 guys. And just like that, that unit is gone from the battlefield. He's going to continue his charge now, and it looks like he's going to be charging into these rifles. Actually, no, he's going to be charging into the backs of these foot guards. Will they be able to form square is the question. And no is the answer, sending even more guys flying now. And once again, bringing them down into very bad morale. Now, this is going to allow the Prussian foot guards to get some shots in. And while they're caught up in melee combat, they're going to get slaughtered. You see some British lights in the background. They have the slight hill advantage. Prussian player notices that, so he's going to be falling back his troops. Bullet's doing a nice job, especially with the teamwork, allowing some of these Fusiliers to get a part of the action. And he's not facing this entire British force on his own. British player, though, attacking with fencibles, a very weak force. But these guys can suffer a lot of losses just because they do not cost as many, as much money. But now we have the rifles engaging. They're going to be helping out the British foot guards and foot. But it looks like the foot guards did break due to that cavalry charge. And we have some unprotected Fusiliers and Jaegers here. So if the British cavalry is still available, you can get a really good cav charge in. Highland foot still pushing in, trying to get even closer. But these Jaegers are definitely feeling the pain of the British. And a massive melee engagement is about to begin. These guys are just so relaxed right now, just enjoying this charge that's about to come their way. But they are going to fall back. We got some brave souls just waiting here for this massive charge. But they do pansy out before they can get anywhere near them. Musketeers actually shooting their own men as they retreat, something like the Russians would do during World War II. So interesting to see that. I'm sure it was unintentional, but still very interesting. So we have once again another melee engagement. It should be a very close engagement. Over here, big push by the British, charging into the Jaegers and Prussian Fusiliers. We do have a reserve line here of foot guards still, and they did retreat, so they're going to be able to shoot even more of these Highland foot as they do get closer. But an epic melee engagement. You see even the fencibles getting a part of the action, charging into the Musketeers. Not doing too bad. Ooh, that shot's sending some guys flying. Chasseur still holding on. It looks like we have a melee engagement. Looks like the Fusiliers charged down the Lightfoot. But taking a look back on this side of the battlefield, look at the catastrophic losses for the British. That unit just got destroyed, down to 79 men. These howitzers are just causing tremendous damage and trauma to these British troops. And it looks like Bullet is going to start breaking in some areas. Musketeers breaking, but he does have a reserve line here. Fusilier is going to be holding. But British troops really pushing forward right now and breaking a lot of these British troops. Or excuse me, French and Prussian troops. But Canister here, we will see how effective he is. Since these guys are able to run across the battlefield, he got these guys into position in no time. But here they come. Highland foot getting very close to the 6-pound horse artillery. We will see if they can make it or not. And hopefully he can get some canister action going. This will be very epic to see. Got the Prussian Fusiliers, or excuse me, foot guards pushing in now. Reloading as fast as possible. Massive British force coming their way. They need to get their canister ready. And we will see the devastation about to be unleashed here. Ripping holes into these lines. Just dropping the British troops just tremendous numbers of losses. And here comes another charge by the British. We'll see if they get another volley off though. It's going to be cutting it very, very close. But we will see. Oh, here we go. Canister being fired. Will he make it? Oh, great charge there. Volley there. Officer still managing to survive that, and they do end up reaching the artillery piece, but not after some severe losses. Foot guards now in melee combat, and it looks like his lines are getting very, very thin here. Another charge here. Foot guards going to try and hold as best as possible, getting some really good point blank shots, but the British are just overwhelming bullets in his ally right now. Artillery piece in some trouble, only 6 men left, one guy getting stabbed, killing the officer, but then dying due to the drummer boy. Looks like the Prussian foot guards are going to be forming up once again. These guys are holding pretty strong though, but the amount of reserves the British have is just enormous. Meanwhile though, the French troops are not engaging too much at the base of this hill. For it's just artillery, but a massive artillery force here. Majority of the combat is happening on this side of the battlefield. We have some more foot guards being shifted over since they are in need of units. These British troops are just pushing forward, and looking at the map, evenly distributed amount of losses and routing units. So this battle is extremely even, but we will see who will hold the better morale. Look at this one brave foot guy, last guy in his regiment. He's going to be retreating. And we have the foot guards reforming. We got the general here just staring at the enemy. Will he die though is the question. Here he is. He's going to be retreating, so staring death right in the face. And he's going to be retreating back behind enemy lines, getting a little bit too close there for comfort. Shashaval flanking this defensible unit, and the defensible unit is in some trouble right now. And here goes some Fusiliers. They're going to be pushing down towards the artillery pieces that are definitely unprotected. And it looks like that British momentum is starting to die down now, just because these foot guards are here to help. But here comes some more Highland foot now. Got a foot unit still doing a lot of damage, definitely all alone here. He is fighting off so many guys right now, but very isolated. Highland foot now running through. We will see, will he make it out? He's actually wanting to be a British Highland foot. Will he make it back though? Getting caught up, but it looks like he will. Still running with the Highland foot. Very interesting to see. He looks like a lost duck right now. Not too sure where to go. And he's trying to fit in, but it does not look like he is able to. There he goes, getting back into melee combat. We will see if he dies or not. Getting another kill, so this guy's doing a really good job. But his troops around him aren't looking so great. With only 20 men left, he is soon to break. Officer still holding on. And they did end up breaking. Flag bearer is dead, and so is he. But this British push is starting to fade away now. Highland foot losing a lot of guys due to these foot guards in melee combat. Those guys do end up breaking, but we have even more foot in the back. General Picton still with his men. He's going to keep this morale very high. But they are getting very low on numbers. We have another melee engagement here. Highland foot up against some Swiss foot, as well as some foot guards, which are extremely depleted. Only 14 men, and they are still engaging. So maybe these guys will get a point-blank volley off, and they do, straight into the Chasseurs. Chasseurs do make it into melee combat, but over here, French cavalry getting a good charge into the artillery pieces, which are absolutely defenseless right now. It looks like this reserve artillery force is going to try and test their luck with some kills, but they're targeting a unit way out in the distance that is really not important right now. Meanwhile, this 6-inch howitzer is causing even more trauma to the British lines. I mean, just take a look at these losses here. all due to the section's howitzer, especially over here. Ton of losses. But this French cavalry doing a really good job. 14 men. They are starting to get low on numbers, but doing a really good job on breaking the British artillery. And we also have some fusiliers here. 6-pound horse artillery trying their luck on breaking these guys, but it is not looking good. Over here, Swissfoot and Young Guard now engaging the Highland Foot. Highland Foot going to be reforming, but with only 36 men, morale is getting very weak, especially facing an elite unit like the Young Guard. These guys are not going to last much longer. The general himself, last guy left. Looks like some artillery just barely got past him. He's going to be retreating now, so luckily this British general is going to make it back to England and share his memories about what happened today. And here we go, Highland Foot getting shot at, running the wrong direction. And those guys do end up breaking. Highland Foot, though, holding strong here. But they too do break, but actually breaking the Swissfoot. So an even trade, and now it's just down to General Picton. Will he make it out of life? I don't think so. Only 4 guys left. Very, very brave. Only 2 guys left now. Picton and his fellow general staff. And it looks like he... Oh no! Oh no! What an artillery shot! Wow! Oh god. So General Picton not as lucky as the other general that managed to get away. So he had the ride of his life. I mean, what a shot by that artillery piece. Just slaughtering him and his general. So getting a bit of a collateral there. So, really good shot by the artillery. That was so cool to see. Anyways, moving on, we have the British lights now engaging. And once again, an uphill battle. Morale is very bad for these guys. But they're holding strong. They're doing their best right now to try and hold and push forth and try and take this French defensive position here. But without any artillery besides this 9-pound foot artillery, things are not looking promising at all. We'll check where these volleys are headed to. Actually sending some of these cavalry. But they do have a pretty healthy, army here. And the balance of power is just slightly still in the British favor. So things are long from over right now. Right now, these lights are getting slaughtered by the Voltigeurs and the Young Guard, unable to form light formation. He's going to be suffering a ton of losses. And British soldier said it best. They really don't like us, so... Oh, direct hit. That's gotta hurt. Another good hit. So the British troops are definitely feeling the pain and the extreme firepower that the French do hold in their possession. And here we go, more Chasseurs about to engage, turned off fire at will. So very smart move here, and more Young Guard engaging. You can see those guys are just dropping like crazy right now, down to 106 men. They're going to be reforming and trying to get some shots off. Young Guard holding strong though, barely taking any losses. But they are up against quite a bit right now. British player not doing a bad job whatsoever despite the circumstances. And here we go, even more Young Guard, this time into more foot. So the last section of the battle right now, and it looks like the French player is going to try and go for a flanking push here. Flanking around the enemy. And these British troops, very bad morale. His general is still down here, escorted by some light dragoons. I do hear a charge, and that is from the foot. So British player getting very desperate, going to test his luck, or try his luck with some melee engagements. And just like that, they are breaking left and right now. These guys unable to make it into melee combat, but these guys do. We have some Prussian cavalry bullets going to be charging them into these 9-pounders. unable to turn their cannons around, they're going to get a really good charge in. And just like that, another British unit is dead. Over here, though, it looks like these foot did make it into melee combat, engaging against the Voltigeurs, but they did not realize that they have reserves, and these Fusiliers and Voltigeurs are going to be shooting from the hill and depleting these foot. Meanwhile, over here, the flank is continuing, and it looks like the French player is going to be pushing down even further now. Young guards, and young guards. Oh, not a good combination that the British are facing, and they are not using their range effectively right now, but they are getting some good kills. And over here, the left flank has totally collapsed right now. Desperate charge in the center, straight into the National Guard. British actually breaking that Swissfoot unit, but here comes the Cuirassiers, and we will see if this British general is in some trouble. Looks like these Cuirassiers are not charging into the general. And the general himself's going to be charging in, it looks like, straight into the backs of the Cuirassiers. But let's check out this charge from the rear. Not only killing a ton of foot, but actually killing a lot of the young guard. Just shows you how powerful these Cuirassiers are in melee combat. And taking a look back over here, these rifles getting very low on troops and morale, and they are breaking as well. So there they go. And just like that, the battle is over, but what an epic battle. I mean, that, I still can't believe that artillery shot straight into the general. That was incredible to see. But will the same happen here? Only 3 guys left. General running off. And it looks like he is saved by the bell. So, it's a great game. I am just speechless. Bullets on top, 1,700 kills. I'm sure mobility played a huge factor for him compared to the rest of his opponents. Looks like the the French player on his team, not doing too great. It's probably because he didn't face too much combat, only taking 500 losses. And then finally over here we have the other French army getting 1,300 kills and only 1,100 losses. And I'm sure that was where Bullet was being helped out over here in this section of the battlefield. And now taking a look at the enemy forces, you know, not doing a horrible job, you know, not doing as good as they could have, especially this last British army. But taking a look at the unit statistics, foot guards, actually all foot guards on top, 271 kills, 233 kills, 228 kills, and 223 kills. So incredible stats by the foot guards, definitely leading the army and showing by example their sheer firepower and force. 6-pound horse artillery also doing a good job, 66 kills. I'm sure that was from the canister. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Also, I have created a Discord, so feel free to join me there. Usually if I'm online, I am hanging out there and just talking to you guys, so feel free to join, as well as join the Steam group so you get updates on when I need people and replays. So that is pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this battle, and I will see you guys later.
So few of the past that controls